And boom, we're live. Welcome to anyone who made it here, to all two of you. Um, the video today is about the UAP Disclosure Fund video that was dropped this Thursday. It was a live stream. The video in general was relatively fine. I mean, it's always interesting to see the representatives, especially in the USA, doing this stuff. Um, the video generally was, I guess, pretty interesting, except like if you watched it live, it was pretty terrible if you had like headphones on, because like your ears exploded randomly along the video. But that aside, there was one particular conversation between Representative Burleson and Dr. Eric Davis, which really sparked like my a whole spark lit through my entire brain after I heard this, because I was like, oh my god, I heard this somewhere, and I finally found it. It's like, I don't know, 12. Yeah, yeah, it's like literally the next day. It's like 15 minutes. It's 23:45. um so the conversation was about, Representative Burleson asked, Dr. Davis about the UAP, and how they're flying and stuff. And then he was kind of like jokingly asking if he could like give him more information about the NHI that are flying the craft. I'm just going to play the first clip, and then afterwards I'm going to connect the dots. I mean, you already saw the thumbnail. It's about Dr. Dan Burisch and what he said like back in 2000, and you're going to find this interesting. So I'm just going to play the clip. Um, ah, maybe I should mention who Dr. Eric Davis is, because he was like not really properly introduced, and he's kind of like a G. He's got like a PhD. Um, he got his PhD in Arizona. He's like an expert in quantum field theory, general relativity, gravitational physics, high energy physics. He was like a senior researcher at an institute for advanced studies, CEO of warp drive metrics, that are like advanced propulsion firm, researcher at Earth Tech International, former staff scientist, and a consultant to various U.S. government departments, as like, um, you've seen him once or twice, I bet. He authored a lot of papers about like really interesting stuff: faster than light propulsion, traversable wormholes, quantum vacuum energy, teleportation physics. Like he's like the real deal. He's like a member of the British Interplanetary Society. He's a senior member of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, member of the American Astronomical Society, and recognized by the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics for outstanding contributions to national defense and space public policy. Like, he's like the real deal, right? And Mr. Burleson asked him, like, almost jokingly, let's just watch the clip. It's pretty cool.
Do you have, or can you comment on whatever species have been um, have been piloting these craft? How are they large? Are they multiple species? Are they like what is their size, and how many are usually on a craft?
They're typically the multiple species. People are familiar with the Greys, the Nordics. People have talked about reptilians and insectoids. It's not that they're reptilian or insectoid, it's that they resemble to the percipient, a reptile or an insect type humanoid, because they have this a head and four limbs and torso.
So large, small,
Human size, human scale.
and are there how many are a crew?
Well, the Greys I'm familiar with from investigating the crash at Corona, which is misnamed the crash at Roswell. It's not the crash at Roswell, it's the crash at Corona in Mexico. Those were Greys, those were 4 foot tall. And the Nordics are typically human size, probably, I've heard 5, 6 feet tall. And same with the people who mislabel reptilian and insectoid, they're roughly that height too. I haven't heard anything about anything 7 or 8 feet or 9 feet tall. That nature.
So you just said like they're grays and Nordics and stuff, and like these are already in the literature, right? Like people already like figured that out, especially like the abductees telling their stories. But the thing he said about like people misidentifying the reptilian NHI really stuck with me. Plus, like the description he gave, like 4 feet tall and stuff. He like it just instantly made a connection to what Dr. Dan Burisch said, because it almost felt like Burleson asked Burisch the same question, and Burisch kind of answered that in a way more explanatory way in early 2000s. And we had to wait like 2 more decades to get like a more compact version, but at least it's like next to like congressional stuff. um I mean, it's just so great. Just I prepared some clips.
And for people listening, we would also like to know, were there any reptilians present?
No, not per se.
And by the way, they are talking about the T9 treaty. Dr. Burisch, like anyone who knows this guy, like he had a lot to say, and there's actually a lot to cover, like from interbreeding with the Neanderthals and humans, which wasn't like a fact at that time. Remote viewing, which wasn't like really out there. Like he already like put out some real good insider stuff that is just like coming out now, back in 2000s. And he was actually talking about the T9 treaty. It's like a treaty which also got like spoken about by the Israeli defense minister, or I don't know who it was, but there was like an Israeli minister who talked in like a news show, like literally talked about like contracts the United States has, or like we humans have with NHI. Um, yeah, but that taken to the side, because the problem with that clip is he's like they're not speaking English, and so it's not really understandable. But yeah, let's just stick to that, and Burish is going to explain why these creatures are looking like insects.
Okay, good.
What I've come to understand, and it's generally held, I think I could say it's generally held within our society, that the notion of a reptilian is a misnomer. And I'm not saying that to apply a negative connotation to the stories that individuals have brought forward, probably mostly forthrightly. But that when you view or observe what would be called a gray, what I would call a J-rod, the particular ruddy configuration of their skin, the changes of the sudoriferous glandular structure of their skin, can make them appear during exacerbations of the illness very reptilian in appearance, and also possibly praying mantis type in appearance. They're also suffering from a cocaine-like syndrome, which makes them lurch forward, so they appear very praying mantis-like. So I think that possibly many of the accounts which have forthrightly come from individuals whom have actually been abducted by the P-45s have maybe been interpreted as being reptilian in appearance. because of their skin structure, but they're not really reptiles.
Okay, again, like Eric Davis said, they're not reptiles, and I understand how like abductees may classify them that way. Like, it's like Eric Davis just took like a phrase from the damn Burisch script and just replayed that. Except, of course, he didn't. He's just explaining the same thing. So it just seems similar. So the first thing is, of course, like there are no reptilians. They look like reptilians, and abductees classify them that way. Okay, first thing. Second thing, the height. What did Eric Davis say? Like 4 feet, right?
Reptilian in that if one were under stress and one had no previous reference to their biology, their pathophysiology, their particular problems, one could reasonably expect out of a group of people experiencing them that more than 50% of the group could probably say that they were reptilian in appearance.
And how tall was he?
Just a little over 3 feet, hunched down, almost 4 feet if he was to be extended out lengthwise, if he would be lying on his back and extended out lengthwise. But the malady, the pathologies under which he was suffering caused him to have weakness, change of gait, change of stance, where most of the time he was extremely hunched over forward and he really couldn't stand up straight. When he would walk, he would wobble and kind of shuffle.
The idea was to reverse an illness that he and his people have.
Yeah.
And let me stop right there. He's getting into way more detail about like his DNA structure which is triplets instead like a double helix which we have. He's like getting more into the detail of the illness and everything, but it's just like the reason this is here is just like to give a little bit more information. It's not if you're interested, I'm going to link all of the clips down below. You can just check them out. He's like such a credible guy. You can really feel in his eyes when he's talking, like he's remembering. He's not like making shit up. I've watched his clips so many times, and I'm like, I believe this guy, right? And he wanted to testify in front of Congress. Like, there have been attempts made, but they just all obviously got never heard. Like we would have known, right? Dan Burisch is still alive and he's still active. He's still doing his stuff, but obviously, since like his appearances, nobody really listened. People got annoyed, and so he just did his own stuff as he was hoping to do anyways. Like he wanted to retire. He worked for Majestic like 20 years. So yeah, this guy's the real deal. Let me just play the clip to the end, and yeah.
The 52.
The 52s and
oh, sorry. P52 means present plus 52,000 years. So the Greys or J-Rods, how he's calling them, are basically humans. Like according to Dr. Dan Burisch, are basically humans, but just 52,000 years ahead of us. Which is specifically the one J-Rod Gray he had contact with. He was like a P52, as they're called. He claimed to already also have contact to P45s, like present plus 45,000 years, so like 7,000 years in between. Orions, like the Nordics or the Tals. But he only heard of them, right? Like he claimed he had personal contact with a P52. His name was Kyla, was a J-Rod, was a Gray, and he's a microbiologist, and his task was to help him, just to fix his pain temporarily, make him not die, make him be useful for the government for as long as possible, of course. And yeah, I'm just going to play the clip to the end.
What we were trying to do initially, jumping off onto the biology a little bit, what we were trying to do is we were trying to actually strip the exterior cytoplasm off from the cells and produce cells which would be independently functioning, then to understand those cells biochemically, genetically, so that those cells could then be re-added as a graft into the J-rod to attempt to ameliorate the neuropathy. That's what one of the stated goals was. Easier said than done. My debriefing must come out to the public to the extent that the authentic message, the truthful message of what I've seen, comes out. And that concerns the extraterrestrial issue. But the rest of it, my losing my knees out at Mayboyer Park and falling at the base of the tree where my grandpa was, that's not required. But for people to know that it's not bullshit.
Do you have your
And he's exactly right. Like, he did dozens of interviews. He provided so much information, like so much background information on what he experienced, so much how it felt, how it looked, where he was, what he did. Like, if this guy is full of shit, I don't know nothing. And let me know what you think about him. Like, I don't care. I can be wrong, of course, but let me know what you think. Do you believe him? Do you think this is compelling? Because do you think this is as compelling as I think it is? Because to me it was like, oh my god, it's kind of like vindicating, as Bob Lazar kind of got vindicated through the discovery of Moscovium, and I feel like we're going to experience a lot more, since especially, and I forgot to say this, we're saying NHI, non-human intelligence, right? We went away from the alien, and which also makes sense. We don't want to denominate like where they come from, right? Because we don't know. And Burisch also has an answer for that. P52, so that means present plus 52,000 years. They're humans, and he treated Kyla like a human, as anyone should. Like I wouldn't want to be treated like a lab rat by Neanderthals, even though I'd love to visit them. I'm sorry, I'm German. Even though I'd love to visit them, like I wouldn't want to be like treated like a lab rat, which doesn't make perfect sense. But we're like even shifting our lingo like softly to kind of step by step match anything these like prominent whistleblowers said, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? So that's pretty fucking fascinating. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, I'm pretty interested in that. Do you think there's a connection or not? Let me know. See you next time. Bye.